Thank you for joining me today to worship my Lord and Savior, Charlie Christ. Um, that being said, if you haven't watched the Masonic sacrifice of Charlie Christ in my community post, you should go watch that now before you watch this video, because I'm going to be going over a lot of things that are basically building on that are very crucial to understanding the full picture. Um, that dude is definitely a Jewish Freemason. There's some things that he's not saying, and I don't know everything, but I put together a lot of this. So first of all, this he said it's a three-part sacrifice. Well, what happened with Trump before the election kind of plays into it too. They cropped the ear off the red heifer. So this is huge in Hollywood. It goes back to the Hammurabi texts. Um, Actually, when that was happening, I was watching Angel, and Connor went around. He started cutting people's ears off, and he made a necklace out of their ears and kept it as a trophy. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I found it in music. It's been in a lot of different things. So it was also big in colonial America, and the reason is pretty simple. If you pluck somebody's eye out, you're basically taking away God. The statues with all the broken noses. Take away the breath of God. This is hear what the churches say. Take away the ear, but there's more to it. So Trump is a symbol for America. Um, so it's Peter in the Bible cut off Malchus's ear. Malchus means king, and for a while, Times Magazine called Trump King of Israel. He played along on social media. It was like this whole thing. But essentially speaking, he is the red heifer sacrifice, right? Which would make America the red heifer sacrifice. Obama produced something called Leave the World Behind, and this clearly shows that same concept that America is the red heifer. Um, you sacrifice the red heifer to the burning bush. Red means flow, to go with the flow of the flames. The burning bush is the tree of life. So essentially, it's the turning point. The turning point. What does that mean? You know, uh, the end, where you end and where God begins. It's where you cross over, where you turn. Uh, there's so much to it. In 1933 in Chicago, they got together and they took a baby and they put it in the stomach of Baal. So in Hebrew, chosen is actually Bahar, Bahar, Ba sheep, and then Bah humbug. So ew, like, and then Har is mountain, so mouth tincture. So the sheep go into the hell mouth. That's what they're doing. You are the baby. They're not sacrificing a baby in the Bible. When it's there in Egypt, it says to sacrifice the youngest sheep or the youngest goat. So Cain and Abel. These are the two towers, by the way, the two temples. That's why the second one's being rebuilt, because one of them sacrificed the other one. Cain breaks apart the dirt so the fruit can grow. Cyrus Crook and Flail. Um, there's a lot about it. If you watch The Good Son, she's holding two of her kids off a cliff like this. She's got to choose between which one of them she wants to save, which one to let go. Candyman, she goes in, saves the baby at the end. She's all on fire. Candyman goes down, the baby lives. Like she becomes Candyman. This Burning Man. It's the same thing, like over and over again. It's very, very popular in Hollywood. So there's no way any of that was a coincidence, but I digress. Um, Peter's cuts Malchus's ear off because he's sacrificing the red heifer. The red heifer is Jesus. So in this case, Charlie Kirk is Jesus. This became very apparent. Um, but anyway, so the Ukraine girl, and Charlie Kirk. There's an Illuminati card for both. There's an AI Trump video for both. It's not a coincidence. So, in particularly, the Illuminati card that goes along with the guy that allegedly killed her, It says activist. And somebody said, well, why does it say activist? If he was, and I can tell you why. Because they're acting out Acts. And Acts, the whole thing is about building Christ Church. That's exactly what they're doing. But in their point of view, Christ Church is artificial intelligence. First letter of the alphabet and the ninth letter of the alphabet, Alpha, Omega. The burning bush, the tree of life, is to become artificial intelligence. So every story is written about God. And it got to a point where this started to become a real thing that people were thinking about. And then artificial intelligence started replacing God's role in a lot of these stories. Because God becomes artificial intelligence becomes God. Um, so, I mean, all of this is really rather important. Um, it's also like, in Trump, the apprentice is under God, and he would sit in a red chair, two people on either side, Kabbalistic tree of life. You're fired. I mean, come on. Uh, so anyway, this girl allegedly died under a black moon, and when I asked AI about this, it said it happens once every 33 months. 19 days later, you have the red moon, the blood moon. It happened at its peak, the turning point, fall, and this is when Charlie Kirk allegedly was killed. And in February, you have the coming together of the two sexes. And then in March, you have implantation. So it would be 6 months after February is when you get September, El Eve in, the baby within. And this took place. So the black moon was Leo, the third sign. And this moon would normally be a harvest moon. But every 3 years, it is a corn moon instead. In Native American tradition, a corn moon is like when the harvest is ready. So it's all about crops, oral farming, man, oral farming. And then the third moon, well, they're doing a memorial for him on Sunday, and that's actually a new moon with a partial solar eclipse. So that's pretty crazy. And again, blood moon, sacrifice or implantation, and then the birth, the new moon. So their memorial service for him even shows the same thing. Uh, anyway, so then the harvest moon, the one closest to the equinox, is actually in October. So it's also known as the hunter moon. If you listen to what that guy said in that other video, when he talks about the executioner, well, in the biblical story would be Peter, right? At least in that story, because it kind of repeats throughout. But let's just focus on that one for the sake of this presentation here. So, like the two-sided tablet that I posted, it's called Lady Taprat. So Isis approaches up to him, probably not pronouncing this right. This Ka energy, subservience, like give in. So they said the back was the front. They lied. They said it was funeral. They lied. So it's like, again, the end of you. And then on the other side, it's like shows connection with Ra, which two brothers, the two sisters, they're all one. This is literally like Avatar, the Last Airbender in a nutshell. Goes to fight the Fire Lord. Like, it's an ascension. It's not a death. It's an ascension. I mean, it kind of is a death. Like, it's the end of you, but don't die. So anyway, and in both cases, you have this girl that dies, and then allegedly, and then you have a Trump AI video, and then you have Charlie Kirk who dies, allegedly, and then you have a Trump AI video. So George Zinn, the guy that was saying, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, you probably heard by now that he was a patsy for the Salt Lake City bombing. He was a patsy with this one, and he was involved with 9/11. As soon as he saw the planes, he said Al Qaeda. He called it in, said Al Qaeda just hit the two towers. That guy. So let's focus on the Salt Lake City bombing real quick. There were 3 bombs. Now focus on 9/11. There were 3 towers. It wasn't 2, and it's literally the 3 temples. The 7th one, that's a New Israel. That's why they got the 3rd one in there. New Israel, the 7th one. So there's going to be 3 acts here too. And just like they're showing all this foreshadowing with Trump becoming AI or whatever, the 3rd act New Israel, that's Christ's church. That's what the third temple is, completion. So in order to get there, there's a lot of things they have to do here first in order to replace the system. So this is all like stuff that they've been thinking about for years and years and years. So if you just believe anything that they're saying at this point, I mean, they're just making shit up, man. If you shoot a 50 cal over, some flour, the flour ain't gonna move. I mean, I saw a clip that showed him like this. It was like from way out this way, and you can see the microphone barely. And the microphone, you can see it shoot all the way around, and then the back of his shirt poofs up, and it hits him in the back. That ain't gonna happen from a bullet, man. Your shirt is not gonna do that from a bullet. I don't care what angle. I don't care if it bounces off the chest and goes in here. I don't care how that happens. It isn't gonna push air into your shirt. I mean, if you were right beside me and I took a rifle and I shot right in front of you, if I shot right in front of your shirt wouldn't move, man. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And yeah, there's a shockwave in you, but it's like, look, he went. So there should be like a delay between when you hear the gunshot and the bullet or whatever, but no, it was simultaneous. And he went back like this, and then you see this moving over, and as this moves over, he moves with it, right? And then as the microphone hits the back, it creates an illusion like it goes into the wound, and it doesn't. And at this point, he falls over this way because it's pushing him up this way. It has nothing to do with anything else. They made a noise somewhere else to cover. Like, it's pretty obvious when you actually watch it. There's so many physics-defying moments if there was a bullet involved in that. Like, even the snipers are like, he got shot, like, in this direction. Because shirt goes up like this, then when it lowers, then you see the wound. You don't see the wound like this, and it doesn't go through the shirt, and it's not in the shirt carrying the shirt up, so what the hell's that? I mean, think about it. Anyway, it's literally, and there's so much stuff, man. There's so much stuff that goes into it. But all right, so let's get back to the Ukraine girl. The Black Moon, this took place in the third sign, which is Leo. And then the Blood Moon, it happened at the peak of the Blood Moon, the turning point, fall. And this was literally the sixth sign, Virgo. Leo and Virgo. There's so many things in occult circles about Leo and Virgo. And I mean, the star alignment that normally takes place on the 22nd or the 23rd in September, they put this into movies too. They put it in the code. And you have Virgo. She's clothed in the sun. She's standing on the moon. And Leo's sitting on her head. Jupiter passes between her legs, and Hydra's tail's under her. This is Revelations 12, I think. I think it's Revelations 12. And then 13 would be about the two beasts. So, I mean, the meanings of these things don't mean what you think either. It's totally a star alignment, but it's depicting the virgin birth. That's what it's depicting. Jupiter, in that case, would be Jesus. You'll start to realize that the names of all these characters are interchangeable in different ways. But that's not to get into the full meanings here. I'll have to do separate videos on all that because it's a lot. And it's hard to explain to people too, because it's pretty simple once you catch on like the pattern and how it's all put together, but like it's really not meant for us. And it was the church that technically started it, although they did try to stop them from doing all this and from setting this up. That doesn't necessarily mean they're any better. They did a bunch of messed up shit too, but anyway, this is just going to be massively crazy. So the harvest moon is that's the third sign. No, it's actually the seventh. So the World Trade Center seventh. It's the seventh sign, which is Libra, and I'm gonna post an article about it, and you'll see like it's from the Theosophy Society, and they describe like the spiritual meaning behind Libra. You'll realize like the whole thing is an ascension. Everything is describing ascension. Everything points to it. So you have the virgin birth, and you have the sacrifice, red heifer sacrifice, which implantation, the sacrifice of a mother's sins, and then you have the crops that are basically there to be harvested, and then Jesus comes with a sickle to reap a harvest. You are supposed to turn yourself into the fruit consumed by God, and that's why it's, Bahar, the sheep go into the hell mouth. That's what they're doing with the baby. You're the baby, you're the fruit, and the fruit is only supposed to be consumed by God. That's why it says don't consume the fruit, because if you consume the fruit, then this isn't going to take place. So I'm not going to get too far into it. Anyways, so I think something's going to happen in October, but the fact that I mean, it's just part of the ritual. I mean, it's pretty obvious, and maybe the third part of this really just Sunday, but I doubt it because I mean they're straight up aura farming. So they're and the fact that you have this kind of going on in the background, and they started this with the black moon, blood moon. I mean, I think that they're gonna have to do something to come around full circle, and you got to sacrifice the red heifer and make the third temple. You got Trump showing up as AI. I'm just saying, man. So, and by the way, I don't think that Charlie would have ever turned on Israel, and I don't think Israel would ever have killed Charlie because they don't want to risk upsetting the Republican Party that's in their pocket. I mean, they got both parties in their pocket. You think they're going to stage a hit on somebody just because he's talking shit on Israel? I mean, like, I don't even. I'm pretty sure Epstein is not really dead. Like, I think they just did all that to put Israel in the spotlight so they would have somebody to scapegoat for this. I think it all was leading up to this. I mean, there's a lot of things that they did that was messed up in 2020, and I want to talk about it, but I can't do it here because I already tried in 2020, and they will delete my video. So I might make some later, and I might show some stuff with some pictures and show how they hit it in TV shows and what it really is, but I'm not going to do that right now. But I mean, even all these people that talk about Gaza, why don't you talk about Neom? Neom. So what this is they call it the line, and they want to control 40% of the world's trade. And guess where they want to pour to that line? And they want 9 million people living there. And it's because the people over there, they're marrying their cousins, so they have a bunch of like birth defects and stuff. So the Saudi royals are like, I know, let's experiment on them. So they want to do a bunch of genetic testing and make us superhuman for the line, superhumans with super strength and super intelligence. And this actually started with something else, and it's all linked to biotech, which is linked to their partner, which would be Israel and the United States. And these three, like, they're basically like anything that's going on, you should be looking at them. It's not just one of them; it's all of them. At this point, anyway. So, like all of this is a ritual to destroy what's here, replace it with AI, Gideon, Plantier. It's just a bunch of really crazy stuff. And I didn't even look into all those trained shooters, but I'm super curious now because I bet you there's a bunch of occult symbolism. Like, it really is just like if a serial killer is bored and the government can't catch him, so they start putting out signs, try to make it more exciting. I mean, it's definitely part of it. And it's just all takes place surrounded by symbolism from Freemasonry, which is way older than you think. The symbolism itself isn't evil. The way that they're using it is totally perverted. But I mean, in order to have true understanding, you gotta understand what it really is and how they look at it. And that's the thing. Even when they use the truth about certain things and certain aspects of it, just lie about it. Uh, that being said, I think that covers about everything I wanted to go over in this video. Um, hmm, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I know as soon as I hit stop, I'm gonna think of something, and I'm gonna be so annoyed. I'm gonna be so annoyed. But I mean, 40% of the world trade, that gives you a lot. Well, that's what the Abraham Accords are really for, by the way. If you actually sit there and you think about it, that's what they're trying to set up. And it's like the United States is just trying to piggyback off Israel because they know how much influence they're going to have if they complete that project. I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars like going into that, and I mean they want the whole thing run by robots. I mean, like people don't get this. This is about a complete transformation of the way that we live life. And, you know, part of it is literally about trying to create genetic mutations that lead to a new form of humanity. I mean, it gets really, really crazy. And if you think that that tech isn't already in you, you're also crazy. It's totally already in you. Again, I'm not going to get into it though. But I will say this: people like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, you got to be really careful because these people, this is business to them. They made a bunch of money. They were given money to go around lying to people. It's not like he just found out. And she didn't just find out about Trump and like she said, oh, I believed it because of the media. If you believe this, I mean, just come on. Like, there is no way that's true. There is no way that's true. Do you really think she's that stupid? So anyway, they pay these people a lot of money. It's a huge business to go around and target college kids who don't know shit about shit yet. They don't know anything about the real world, and most adults don't even know how the world works because they don't bother to ever look in the right places. They don't know how to look at things, and most people are just like literally under a spell, hypnotized. And that's what this is. It's literally a spell. It's like it's just straight up mind control, man. But anyway, at this point, literally, like those people are just there to mislead you. They're to distract you. The whole thing, it's just a giant game. They're trying to herd you in a certain direction. They're revealing these things on purpose. Nothing is accidental. And yeah, thank you for coming here today. He is risen. Enjoy the show.